Wednesday, a monthly Netflix stand-up showcase hosted by Taylor Tomlinson. Tuesdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. East. Netflix is a Joke Radio. To hear Netflix is a Joke Radio, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800.
Or go to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Did you know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SXM app, filled with ad-free music made for everything you do? Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
Visit SiriusXM.com/go to quickly sign up online and activate your radio. Sometimes there aren't enough hours in the day, and sometimes there are way too many. So why not fill them with SiriusXM? Think about it. You can wake up with Howard Stern in the morning, let commercial-free music get you through the daily grind, and then wrap it up with news, talk, and comedy on the way home. All you've got to do is visit SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly, or call 844-711-8800 now. And if the day doesn't go faster, then at least you know it'll sound much better.
Ride to the biggest hip-hop hits in the game. On Hip Hop Nation, Channel 44. Then, go even deeper with exclusive channels in the SXM app. Hear who's next on Hip Hop Nation Discovery.
You thought I was killing you?
Or hit the gym with Hip Hop Nation Workout.
Jumpin', and boys up to something.
For the latest hip-hop, start with Channel 44. Then explore more in the SXM app. To hear this channel, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or head to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
You deserve the best. With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada. SiriusXM takes you on a summer getaway to Milan with Italy's own Måneskin, performing their biggest songs from the legendary San Siro Stadium. Global sensation Måneskin captured live in Milan. All week, exclusively on All Nation, Channel 36, or whenever you want on the SXM app. Just search Måneskin.
Get the SiriusXM app and listen on your phone when you get out of the car. Anywhere you take your phone, you can take Howard Stern, NFL Radio, and commercial-free music channels from nearly every genre. You never have to miss your favorite SiriusXM programs or commercial-free music. Find the SiriusXM app in the App Store or call 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/app to find out more.
They're the founding fathers of thunderous, hard, and heavy classic rock, Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. Welcome to Ozzy's Boneyard. Hear Ozzy-approved, hard and heavy classic rock on his own channel. Ozzy's Boneyard. To hear Ozzy's Boneyard, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com.
Did you know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SXM app, filled with ad-free music made for everything you do? Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
Hi, I'm actor, writer, director, actor, and sometimes DJ Diallo Riddle.
And I'm producer and songwriter Luxury.
And this is One Song, a podcast where we celebrate and deconstruct some of your favorite songs from the last 60 years and tell you why they deserve one more listen.
We'll take you inside these songs, tell you the story of how they were made, how they were recorded, and bring to life what makes them so special.
One Song on Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio, Channel 96, and listen anytime on the SXM app, included with all of our trials and popular plans.
Just because you leave town doesn't mean you should go without your commercial-free music, play-by-play from your favorite teams, or the programs, entertainment, or news you listen to every morning. Get SiriusXM and get the radio you love coast to coast. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com to activate your radio now.
Let's do it. A classic hip-hop channel like no other.
Hey, yo, you got the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
It's your homie Ice Cube.
Yo, this is the Queen Latifah.
It's your boy Busta Rhymes. What up, though? It's your boy Big Snoop Dogg. Curated by the greatest.
Real hip-hop fans that love hip-hop music, this is for you.
LL Cool J's Rock the Bells Radio. Channel 43. To hear LL Cool J's Rock the Bells Radio. Activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800.
AutoZone is more than a parts store. It's where we help you solve problems like, sorry I'm late, my battery died, and
I need a jump again.
At America's #1 battery destination, you can find the right battery at the right price with options starting at only $89.99. And we offer free battery testing and charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Nothing compares to witnessing it live, in person. The roar of the crowd, the adrenaline, the rush of high-fiving random strangers. Don't miss your chance to be part of the epic showdowns, classic rivalries, and primetime games under the lights. Tickets to all regular season games are on sale now. That's 17 games. Take your seat. Visit NFL.com/tickets to purchase your tickets today.
Rondo Deportes, bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me, and people who have 27 podcast platforms. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? I'm telling you, we have a beautiful day in Denver Hills, California. NFL is already back. Is back. I'm telling you, in Ohio, they're playing the New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns. Not necessarily a game that would make people turn on the TV on a Sunday, but it is preseason. And, of course, people have their own thoughts about will Aaron Rodgers play, etc. But what a great night for football to be back. I love talking about things that make people happy, and football is definitely one of them. Really do appreciate that. Everybody knows if you're going to win a championship, you got to have a good start to the season. And I think these two teams will make some noise about having a good start to the season. I'll get into that game just a little bit later, but I want to say you can follow Big C Sports Podcast on 27 podcast applications all over the universe. You can find us on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You can also find us on YouTube, Hub Hopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repot Podcast. I'm going to tell you one more thing. There's a thing that I love when it comes to NFL football. People are paying attention to a preseason game. And that's why NFL is king. Not many things in life can you watch people practice in preseason. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Good Pods Podcast, Rubber Podcast, Podcast Policy, Podcast Republic, and I'm going to tell you the only one that used to scare me, but now it doesn't, allfees.ai. The robots are taking over. Give that some praise. The robots are taking over. Tonight we're going to see NFL football. Obviously, people miss it, but really preseason is just preseason. It's a way to work out the kinks. A lot of guys are not in shape, and some starters will only play the first first or second series of plays. They don't play the whole thing. They're trying to figure out who's going to be a part of the team, and that's part of life. I love it, if that makes sense to you. I also want to say, as far as Big C Sports Podcast, my show is not like the others. I always produce the show. That's number one. Number two, I direct the topics. Number three, I broadcast all the shows. Number four, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter, and I know I could use more laughter. And then, I'm telling you, the commercials are done. Unlike other sports programs, all of my commercials are done up front. I don't wait to do a mid-roll. They're either done in the beginning of the show or at the end of the show, and I really do love that. That means I got to talk extemporaneously for about an hour. Not many people can do that, but I do my best, if that makes sense to you. And then the stats are provided, the storytelling, the play-by-play. Aaron Rodgers up to the line of scrimmage, has 4 wideouts, 5-man front by the Browns. The snap rolling to his right, rolling, throws downfield. It is caught for the touchdown by Big C! 50 yards! It's like, man, will you stop screaming in your sleep? Like when I was growing up, my brothers, when we first started out, we had bunk beds. So my brother downstairs, in the bottom bunk, and then the brothers in the top bunk. Oftentimes we hear each other calling plays, like doing NFL football or NBA basketball or Major League Baseball. And that's where I started doing my own play-by-play. But my brother would be like, man, can you quiet down, please? It's 3 a.m. I said, but I gotta win the game. It's 3 a.m, man. But I remember those days, and now you have grown men. Remember all those days when they were kids and they had their own play-by-play in their bunk beds and dim their heels, if that makes sense to you. And then the show's uploaded to 27 podcast platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Dim Their Hills, California, all fair and Leavenworth. And then it goes out to 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. But you better have a smart TV, or you might be sitting there looking at a still picture. Really do appreciate that. And then I never missed a show since starting Big C Sports with the crew back in the day at Salem Media. And I really do appreciate that through thick and through good and bad times, through what Frankie Beverly said. He said, joy and pain is like sunshine and rain. Said it one more time. Joy and pain is like sunshine and rain enough. My brother would say, man, you quit singing at 2 o'clock in the morning. But I was trying to sing some Frankie Beverly, all fair and Leavenworth. If you like joy and pain, I want to make sure I pay homage to our Veterans Crisis Hotline, because they also deal with joy and pain. If you know anybody going through issues, they will stand on their head to get you some help. They have a hotline number for you, 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give them some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. I also want to say it's nice leaning on somebody when somebody's leaning back. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, let there be light. He also said, reparations now, reparations forever. Really do appreciate what God said in the Bible, if that makes sense to you. So many things that I love about today with NFL kicking off. I tell you, there's so much that we can all be grateful for. And I know sometimes we forget how much we love something, and then we see it come back, like NFL football. I know people love baseball, they love basketball, they love baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet. They love it all, but we all gotta love something. And what I love about NFL football, I remember seeing it when I was a little boy. It just brings so many people together, and that's what I love about sports. Sports can connect people unlike anything else in the world. And that to me means it's very near and dear to my heart. But I want to also mention what I'm on is this push for reparations. Now, I might be a little bit wrong tonight when I talk about this. I've been saying that the NFL, in fact, I've been asking NFL to champion reparations the same way they championed Black Lives Matter the last couple of years. And really, since they championed Black Lives Matter, the Supreme Court took away affirmative action. They championed Black Lives Matter, but the Supreme Court took away affirmative action, which is supposed to open doors for equality for people of color, especially Black Americans. But they've taken that away because they said America has never had a race problem, and if it has, it's over now. that everybody's egalitarian now. I don't know if that's true or not. I want to pay homage to Janie Har of the Associated Press. She actually did an article on reparations, and when she did the article on reparations, she actually called me. She gave me a call, and she asked me my thoughts on reparations, and I said, reparations now, reparations forever. And she said, I haven't even asked you the question yet. I said, I don't care what it is, it's reparations. But she called a sports show to talk about reparations, as opposed to maybe CNN or some other news program, ABC News, CBS News. But she also mentioned in the article on March 29th, 2023, she mentioned Charlton Curry, she mentioned President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, California Governor, I'm telling you, Gavin Newsom, who mandated the task force. There's so many great things that come when people talk. And I asked her what made her give me a call. And she said she heard me speak at the reparations meeting in the state capitol. And she said, you're not like the others. And everybody has their own opinion on what the others are like. I do the best I can, and I like to be factual. I often ask people to Google whatever I say because I want people to get it. I want all of us to do something that's going to really benefit people, especially black Americans. And people say, oh, you can't talk about benefiting black Americans. Yes, you can, because that's what the Emancipation Proclamation was for. For those who are antithetical to reparations, I want you to Google. Get your phone out. We're going to have a test. In fact, we're going to have a quiz right now. Get your phone out ready? Ready? Google Survivors Today Act of 2017. Google it. I'll give you 3 seconds. I'll say it one more time. Google Survivors Today Act of 2017. It has nothing to do with NFL football. Nothing to do with NBA basketball. Nothing to do with Major League Baseball. It's called the Justice for Uncompensated Survivors Today Act of 2017. Is United States legislation that requires the State Department to report to Congress on steps that 47 countries in Europe have taken to compensate Holocaust survivors and their heirs for assets seized by Nazi Germany and post-war communist governments. There, it's right there. You can get that some praise because they're making sure that our Jewish brethren get paid. And nobody's complaining about it. And I'm asking the same thing for descendants of chattel slavery African Americans. I'm so impassioned about being on this reparations task force and interviewing the individuals involved. I want to say the United Nations Human Rights Chief also calls for reparations for descendants of chattel slavery. And what I don't want to happen is we get into our sports leagues and we act like no one cares about anything outside of sports. Big C Sports, I know there's a lot of people, Jaylen Brown, there's a lot of people that have an idea on what they want to do. In fact, I'll be talking with Jaylen Brown's father, and Marcellus. He gave me a call just the other day about doing some commentation, just talking about things that go on in his life as a boxer, and he's also raised professional athletes. But I want to have that conversation with him, and then maybe have some airtime with him too coming up, maybe in the next week as things settle down a little bit. But it doesn't really settle down. NFL football gets going fast, but I will always take the time to pay homage to something that's really important, and you're not going to hear this on any other sports show. The California Reparations Task Force, they had their 16th meeting. It was Thursday, June 29th, 2023 at 9 o'clock a.m. at the Secretary of State building in Sacramento, California. And I love paying homage, and you're never going to hear it anywhere else, and I hope I'm wrong, but you're not going to hear it anywhere else. You're not going to hear it on the mothership. Not going to be on CNN, ESPN, ABC Sports, Fox Sports, NBC Sports. They're not going to have it on Turner Sports. I want to pay homage to Camila Moore, the chair of the California Reparations Task Force. Brilliant. She's an attorney. And then Dr. Amy C. Brown, the vice chair. Brilliant. And then the best senator in the country, Senator Stephen Bradford. Brilliant. And then you also have Council Member Monica Montgomery Steppe. Brilliant. You have Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. Brilliant. You have Dr. Shell Grills. Brilliant. Attorney Lisa Holder. Brilliant. Dr. Javon Scott Lewis. He's actually a professor at Cal Berkeley. Brilliant. And then Donald K. Tamaki. Brilliant. I want to give them all praise. No other sports show is going to do that. They're just going to give you numbers and stats and games. And if that's their choice, who can tell them what to do? I do my own show. I do it my own way. It doesn't have to please everybody. But I at least want to be factual. And I would hope, and again, I might be wrong, but at least I'm going to put it out there. I hope that is mandatory reading for every college, high school, university in the United States. The task force, it recommends major reparations. It's an 1,100-page report. and it recommends recommendations, 1,100 pages. So for anyone that says they don't believe in reparations, and in that 1,100 page report, you can go in there and figure out what you agree with. You may also be able to go into the report and figure out what you do not agree with. I do know one thing for sure. You can't please everybody. I've known that long enough being in sports and being in politics. You can't please everybody. Sometimes people go different, people perceive things differently. I like the smooth road. I don't like bumpy roads. I don't like the gossip. I don't like getting in other folks' business. And that's what I do the best I can. I stay in my own lane. That's tough enough to stay in my own lane. I don't like jumping into another person's lane when traffic's coming my way, if that makes sense to you. But the task force recommends major reparations, 1,100-page report, and I just look forward to having people give that some praise because there's a lot of work that's gone into it, and I'm gonna get my hands on it and start giving out also samples of what's in it, because it's great to have an opinion, but an informed opinion is better than just an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody does. Especially when it comes to the 9 Series DNA. We all have opinions. I really appreciate opinions. That's my story. I'm going to touch on something before I get into some NFL football because it's really changing my life too. I ask everyone around the country, Google Matthew 25:40, verse 40 through 30. It tells about talents. We all can look in the mirror and say, what am I doing with my life? And we all have talents. According to our abilities, I always call it God, but they call it a master who has some servants. And he was going to leave out of town, so he gave some talents to his servants to make sure they took care of business while he was gone. One servant received 5 talents, the second servant received 2 talents, and the third servant received 1 talent. Well, which one are you? How many talents has God given all of us? How many? I think I'm one of the individuals that was given 1 talent, because I can do the same thing with 1 talent that others who've been given 5 talents have done. And I only say that because I recognize I grew up, had a great life, but there were times when maybe people had more than me, and that's okay. But as far as my drive and ambition, I've yet to meet many people that have more drive and ambition. I've met some cynical people who say, oh, you ain't doing nothing. Oh, we'll be glad when you get on your feet. And you got more than they got. There are a lot of times people want you to wear what you have on your shoulders. I was talking to a good friend of mine about some people, they have so many hopes and dreams, but they have more on their body than their net worth. There are people who have brand new fancy cars and they have no money in the bank. But they look good driving that brand new fancy car. That gas gauge is on E. And then you do what I've learned from some older people. Some people that actually had real money in the bank. You don't have to buy the latest car. Some of the wealthiest people I've known, they drove a pickup truck. They didn't buy the most fanciest vehicle out there, but they had money. And then you have people that have the most fanciest vehicles, they got no money. Credit cards maxed out. But that's the way some people live. That's all, all fair and love and war. But I think with the talents that God has given me, I want to be the world's best father, the world's best broadcaster, and I want to give that some praise. You can't make people like you. All you can do is be the best you can be, and that's what I'm striving to do. And I know it's not easy. Everybody has their own thoughts. I just hope and pray that eventually everything that I work for, I'm going to get it, and I give that praise. You got to give God the praise for it, because everybody has their thoughts on what should be done, how things should be conducted. You can't please everybody. I've tried before, and it just doesn't work. Sometimes the people you try to help the most, they'll be the ones that turn against you. Just the way it is. The people you try to help the most, sometimes they will turn their back on you. And you can't change it. It just is. People do what they want to do. You can't worry about it. All you can do is what you can do. If you have something good to say, say it. If not, don't say it. Really do appreciate NBA Boston Celtics player Jaylen Brown wants to bring the Black Wall Street to Boston. Hopefully we'll get more NFL football players talking the same way about bringing the Black Wall Street to NFL cities and not just going to a city to play sports and going to a city hoping that you're going to get the chance to have people buy your merchandising. Hopefully that happens. I know everybody has a hope and dreams on what they want to do to get bigger, stronger, and better. And that, to me, is part of what NFL football is all about, to get bigger, to get stronger, to get better. NFL games today on Thursday night, and I really wish they'd do away with Thursday night football in the regular season. Maybe do it preseason. Regular season players got to heal. They got to heal up. It's been almost 6 months since the final seconds ticked off the clock in Super Bowl 57. And after a long offseason, it's time to ask, are these NFL games today? Yeah, we have one already. It doesn't even feel like football season, but we have the Hall of Fame game. Isn't that something? 2023 Pro Football Hall of Fame game. It already kicked off playing. You can watch it on the NFL's first preseason contest of the 2023-24 season. And all the information is out there and the first NFL action since February of this year. Obviously, the Super Bowl concluded, and then people took a hiatus, took vacation, and things changed, if that makes sense to you. But I'm telling you, the Hall of Fame was announced for the class of 2023, set to be enshrined the day after the game, so that's going to be tomorrow on Friday, with 2 first-ballot Hall of Famers set to be inducted. The NFL will celebrate both in one night as the New York Football City Jets. They will take on the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland, this is for you. Now, the Browns see an 11-year offensive tackle, Joe Thomas, enter the prestigious club. It's amazing. In his first year of eligibility, joining Thomas is Darrelle Revis, one of the best defensive backs to ever play the game. He dominated the league at the cornerback position during his time with the Jets. Also had subsequent stops after that. However, the Jets will celebrate 2 Hall of Fame members as defensive lineman Joe Klecko is also in the 2023 class. I'm telling you, a lot of good players over the years, when they get to the Hall of Fame, they really realize how much it meant to them. And it's important. That game already kicked off at 5 o'clock p.m. East Coast time on NBC Sports. It's also live streaming on Peacock if you want to live stream it too. But I think about some of the things we need to know about the Hall of Fame game. Outside of a few years here and there, the Hall of Fame game has kicked off the NFL preseason, going way back to 1962, the game that played at the birthplace of the National Football League, with the Jets and the Browns kicking off at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Now Cleveland, this is for you. They make their 6th appearance in the Hall of Fame game, with his most recent appearance in 1999. Prince, think about 1999. Now the Browns also played in the second half of the Fame game against the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1963 in Dimdare Hills. Meanwhile, this will be the Jets' 3rd trip to Canton, Ohio, with the last visit in 1992, with the Hall of Fame game kicking off in the 2023 NFL preseason. There are other NFL games that will be talked about later as well. But I want to also just say for the high school kids, I'm going to be resuming Big C's Friday Night Lights for the top 10 high school football games, or nicely top 10 high school football programs in the country. I do that getting into kickoff for high school football. But Canton, Ohio is host to the Canton McKinley Bulldogs and the Washington Massillon Tigers. That's a game for a high school that attracts about 20,000 plus every year, 2 of the most storied programs in Ohio. And I think Washington Massillon, they have the winningest high school football record in the state of Ohio. And so that's what I think about when I think of Canton McKinley. And I wanted to pay homage to the high school kids that follow Big C Sports also. So there's NFL football tonight. Fans, they must get their $5 beers ready. $5? Okay, maybe like $10 beers ready. But they must wait another week before a full slate of preseason games. In the meantime, I'm telling you, for week 1 of the NFL preseason, including tonight's game, which is going to be Houston, Texas, at New England Patriots, August 10th. So that's just a week down the road, and that's going to be at 7 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on the NFL Network. You also will have the Minnesota Vikings at the Seattle Seahawks. That's going to be at 10 p.m. East Coast time kickoff on NFL Network. Friday, August 11th, Green Bay Packers at the Cincinnati Bengals, start time 7 o'clock p.m. East Coast time on the NFL Network. So they'll be getting their groove on. You have the New York Football Giants at the Detroit Lions, and that's start time 7 p.m. East Coast time, and that's for local TV. The Atlanta Falcons at the Miami Dolphins down in the swamps of Florida, start time 7 p.m. kickoff East Coast time, and it's only going to be on local television. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That start time 7 o'clock p.m. East Coast time. also on a local channel in Tampa, St. Pete, Florida, if that makes sense to you. Washington Commanders at the Cleveland Browns. That starts at 7 p.m. East Coast time on a local channel in Cleveland, if that makes sense to you. The Denver Broncos at the Arizona Cardinals. Start time 10 o'clock p.m. East Coast time on the NFL Network. You have Saturday, August 12th. Indianapolis Colts at the Buffalo Bills. Start time 1 o'clock p.m. East Coast time, also on local television. There's more games that I could get into, and I want to make sure that I do that as we get closer to it. But for those of you who love NFL football, I want to give that some praise because it's back, and people sometimes, you don't realize how much you miss something until it goes away, and then it comes back. There are a lot of great players that are getting ready to ascend in this NFL football season. I'm telling you, I have my own thoughts on who some of these players are. And everybody has their own thoughts because it's a free country. It's a free country. You can invite who you want to invite. But I touched on it slightly yesterday. The NFL's top 10 highest paid quarterbacks of 2023 and comparing their records, their playoff results, and also other production. And to me, that's how you decide when the rubber meets the road. It's not perception. Like, show me what you've done after your season's done. And as I mentioned yesterday, touchdown Justin Herbert signed a huge contract with the Los Angeles Chargers, and he's making $52.5 million a year. He has 49 starts. He has a 25-24 record. He's 0-1 in playoffs. His rating is 96.2. Touchdown interception ratio is 94 touchdowns, 35 interceptions. That's a lot to give a player $52 million a year. In fact, $52,500,000 a year in 49 starts. And then Lamar Jackson, which some people feel will be the MVP this year if he stays healthy for the Baltimore Ravens. $52 million a year. And he has 61 starts in his career. 61. His win-loss record is 45 wins and 16 losses. That's a pretty decent record for Lamar Jackson. But his playoff records, he's only 1 win and 3 losses. His touchdown interception ratio is 101 touchdowns and 38 interceptions. But he's the real deal and may just get the MVP this year. Also, another top player is Jalen Hurts, making $51 million this year in salary. He's played in 34 games. His win-loss record is 23 wins, 11 losses. Isn't that something? His playoff record is 2 wins and 2 losses. His touchdown-interception ratio is 44 touchdowns and 19 interceptions. And he's been to 1 Super Bowl. He's 0-1 in that game. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs last year. But he's a solid player, and I think he's only going to get better. The great Jalen, please don't hurt him if that makes sense to you. You have touchdown Aaron Rodgers, no longer with the Green Bay Packers. He's now a New York Jets, just $50,300,000 a year, even though he took a pay cut. He took a big pay cut. He's going to be around, he gave up about $15 million a year to make the team better. His win-loss record out of 223 games, 147 wins in only 75 losses and 1 tie. Now, his playoff record is only 11 wins and 10 losses. That's not that great. 11 wins, yes. 10 losses, not as great. And look at his touchdown-interception ratio. 475 touchdowns, only 105 interceptions. In the Super Bowl, that good boy is 1-0. They've only won 1. And he's trying to get back. But will he get there with the Jets this year? I don't know. The Jets are a good team. But they have a tough road to hoe, if that makes sense to you. And then, interesting, Russell Wilson, now playing in his second season with the Denver Broncos, makes $49 million a year. He's played in 173 games. He has a 100. Think about this. The guy's he's a great player, but sometimes people have their own issues. 108 wins, 64 losses, and 1 tie to his career. Now, when you look at his playoff record, in the playoffs, he's been there a lot. He's 9 wins, 7 losses. That's not bad. He's over 50%. And then his touchdown-interception ratio, 308 touchdowns, 98 interceptions. He's 1-1 in Super Bowls, could be 2-0 in Super Bowls. But he didn't hand the ball off to beast mode. He should have done it. They would have won it. $49 million, nothing to shout about. You have Kyler Murray for the Arizona Cardinals, $46.1 million a year. Isn't that something? It's a lot of money for a player that's had 57 starts. His record is 25 wins, 31 losses, and 1 tie. But he's getting $46 million to lose more than he's won. His touchdown interception ratio is 84 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. But he's still getting $46 million. A lot of money. I think they need him in Arizona, but it also seems like he sometimes infighting, not the best leadership. That's what some people feel. Maybe that's the case. Who knows? But at the same time, when you think about some of the top players in the NFL, you want to think, in my opinion, I know he came under a lot of scrutiny last year, the last couple of years. And that's Deshaun Watson for the Cleveland Browns. $46 million a year, played in 59 games. His record is 31 wins, 28 losses in those games. And when you think about his touchdown interception ratio, 111 touchdowns and 41 interceptions. So that's what he's done in his career. You got to keep that in mind. Obviously he was suspended for a time. We all know about the allegations, and that's what allegations are. Could have let somebody know where he was, but he chose not to, if that makes sense to you. Hopefully things work out, and if you win, things tend to work out on the football field for a lot of players. I want to bring up another great player, arguably the best player in the NFL this year, and that's touchdown Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City Chiefs. $45 million a year. 45? Yeah, 45. And he's the best player in the league. You got guys making $52 million that have not even won a playoff game. How does that seem fair? He's played in 80 total games. His one-loss record is 64 wins, 16 losses. And think about what he's done in the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, I'm talking about playoffs. In the playoffs, he's 11-3. He knows how to win. His touchdown interception ratio is 192 touchdowns and 49 interceptions. And that's touchdown Patrick Mahomes. He's amazing. Amazing player. He's only making, I won't say only, I wish I was only making $45 million. He only makes $45 million a year. But when I look at guys that are making more than him, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players making more than him. More than Patrick Mahomes. Doesn't make any sense. And then you have Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills. $43 million a year. 76 games. He's 52-24 in those games. In the playoffs, he's 4-4. Think about that. His touchdown interception ratio, he has 138 touchdowns and 60 interceptions. He's a good player. That's a lot of money. I don't see his Super Bowl. Not this year for Buffalo. And then a player that's been much maligned for no reason whatsoever. For the Dallas Cowboys, I have Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's a great player for the Cowboys. Making $40 million a year seems like a bargain compared to guys who are making more than that with less experience, like Herbert. Dak Prescott played in 97 games. He's 61 wins, 36 losses in those games. Now his playoff record is 2-4. Touchdown interception ratio, 166 touchdowns, 65 interceptions. He's a real deal if he stays healthy. And I hope that he'll stay healthy this year. And then Daniel Jones, $40 million a year. He's only played in 53 games. 53. His one-loss record is 21 wins, 31 losses, and 1 tie. 21 wins, 31 losses, and 1 tie. But he's getting $40 million a year, the same as Dak Prescott, who's played in 97 games, has 61 wins, only 36 losses. And then, when you look at the record 1-1 in the playoffs, that's Daniel Jones for the New York Giants. Doesn't look as good on paper as it sounds on television. We will see. Touchdown interception ratio, 60 touchdowns and 34 interceptions. There's something about these players where perception wins out. Almost have a losing record for some of these quarterbacks, yet they're some of the highest paid. That to me is amazing. And I love football for so many reasons. I think a lot of people do. But how do you justify a player that's a 500 quarterback making more than a quarterback who's won the majority of his games? 70%. Of the 11, only 3 or 27% have won a single Super Bowl. And only 4 or 36% have won a conference title. And it's hard to do these things, especially in a team sport. So many players get better year after year. But the fact that a healthy majority of NFL's best players and the best compensated players, they happen to be quarterbacks. Even some of them only win at 50% clip. Is that crazy? It speaks to the amount of value that the NFL puts on quarterbacks. Consider that only 2 of the quarterbacks are over 30 years old that I just mentioned. Those 2, Aaron Rodgers at 39 and Russell Wilson at 34. So when you look at the existence of a space in their own owning 170 plus acres and Super Bowl victories while looking to rejuvenate their careers, there's a lot of times perception is worth more than what you have on paper. I love the fact that NFL football is amazing. I've been watching it since I was a young boy. Now, what I just named, the list could go, it could change in a matter of 2 additional deals. Namely involving the Cincinnati Bengals' Joe Burrow, who won a national championship at LSU. And there are people who think that he might be the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't see it. He's not necessarily a scrambler as he is a runner. He is accurate. But think about the money these guys were getting. The Bengals' Joe Burrow, who stands to match or exceed Justin Herbert, and boasts more of a Mahomes trajectory in terms of early postseason results. But right now, Mahomes is the obvious unicorn of the bunch, offering a Hall of Fame caliber track record while remaining in his prime. The fact that he leads almost all the basic categories in win percentage, playoffs with a record, and Super Bowl. The man is amazing. It's almost painfully obvious that for as long as his normal self, he'll register as impossibly underpaid relative to his peers. Patrick Mahomes makes less money than about 7 guys that I just mentioned on the list. But many people arguably say he's the best quarterback in the league. But he makes less money than Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, $52.5 million. Lamar Jackson, $52 million. Jalen Hurts, $51 million. Aaron Rodgers, $50 million. Russell Wilson, $49 million. Kyler Murray, $46 million. Deshaun Watson, $46 million. Patrick Mahomes, $45 million. And he's the best one of them all. I'll give you some praise. I think the best quarterback get paid so little money compared to some of his counterparts. That's just the way it is. Now, when you think about these players, they have to win, but it's not just based on them. It's based up to their teammates, how well they put things together in the preseason, and that's what they're doing now, and how well these guys come together in the offseason. I love the fact that NFL football is tackling things, but I really hope that they start focusing on the reparations issue. Reparations for football? Yes. You have the eyes and ears of everybody. You have the eyes and ears of so many great players. And then you have the eyes and ears of fans all over the world that watch it. I'm going to bring up a couple of players right now that I think are going to be great. Everybody has their own thoughts about it. It doesn't matter what I think. We all got to get better. I want to just put a little bit of attention to something that I think is important. I know Hamlin, who had the cardiac arrest for the Buffalo Bills when they were playing a game in Cincinnati. They brought out the defibrillator and they had the medical staff, and it saved that young man's life. What an important moment in time that people could watch NFL football and see how important it was to save lives of a player who his heart had stopped. But they had medical staff, and they were there to respond fast enough to save his life. Isn't that something? Can we do the same thing for reparations? Talk about it, let people hear about it. That's important to me. NFL News Roundup, the latest league updates. When I think about this beautiful August 3rd, 2023, there are 10 NFL quarterbacks poised to have a breakout year. This year, year 2. And everybody has their own thoughts about who they are. Sauce Gardner came into the league with a ton of promise as the number 4 overall pick in 2022 and more than lived up to this draft pedigree and will debut for the New York Jets. We'll see what happens. He's got his thing right in front of him playing Cleveland tonight. All fair and love and war. There's another player that I really like. His name is Tariq Woolen for the Seattle Seahawks. Did not think about this. The 5th round pick already break out, making the Pro Bowl as a rookie. The Pro Bowl as a rookie. He very well could be one of the NFL's top 10 cornerbacks this season. Woolen tied for first in the NFL with 6 interceptions, including 1 pick six. He ranked first in total takeaways with 8 and tied for 4th with 16 passes defense. Those stats are great. Any quarterback, let alone a rookie. So why did I include him in this piece? I anticipate that Woolen will establish himself among the very best in the game at the position this season. He's 6'4", and he's a fast guy. He goes sideline to sideline. And I think he's going to have a breakout season number 2 this year. And joining Sauce Gardner as one of the league's young stars, I like what Woolen's been able to do. There's also another player that I'm quite intrigued by as having a breakout season. His name is Roger McCreary for the Tennessee Titans. He started every regular season game last season for the Tennessee Titans. That collapsed down the stretch due to injuries. The 2nd round selection who led all NFL cornerbacks in defensive snaps in 2022. He showed promise and finished 3rd on the team in tackles with 84 after spending the majority of his time as a wideout, as a rookie. He could continue to improve this year, and I think he will. There's another player that I really want to get a hold of and see how well he plays. His name is Deron Bland for the Dallas Cowboys. He started 8 regular season games for the Cowboys. How about those Cowboys, including each of the final 7, and logged every defensive snap in the postseason, playing both inside and outside corner. He showed real ball skills, leading to an opportunistic Dallas Cowboys defense that ranked 1st in the NFL. They had 33 takeaways for the Dallas Cowboys, but they got beaten down in San Francisco in the playoff game. But there's every year people say how good Dallas will be. We will see if they have enough to get over the hump this year. But Dallas ranked 1st in the NFL with 33 takeaways, 5 interceptions, and the Cowboys should have one of the better cornerbacks in the league again this year. I'm telling you, this is the team. If you don't get to a Super Bowl this year, who knows if it will happen. They have a lot of great players, and their defense is solid. There's another player that I like out here on the West Coast, plays in the NFC West. His name is Kobe Bryant for the Seattle Seahawks. He started just 6 games as a rookie, but was a fixture defending the slot all year, compiling a nice stat line in the process with 4 passes defense, 4 forced fumbles, and then 4 tackles for loss and 2 sacks. Most impressively, he believes in reparations. Reparations now, reparations forever. I'm going to make sure that people start doing what Jaylen Brown for the Boston Celtics did. Start saying you believe in reparations. Start saying you believe in the Black Wall Street. If we don't do it, then who will? He racked up 52 solo tackles. There's a lot of talk about a potential Legion of Boom 2.0 with Tariq Woolen, Devon Witherspoon, Quadre Diggs, and Jamal Adams. We will see. I know Jamal Adams is the real deal if he stays healthy. And then Bryant, I'm telling you, don't put much past this group. Now, there's another player and got a chance to get his chest in the win. His name is Martin Emerson for the Cleveland Browns. He played opposite Denzel Ward for much of the 2022 season, participating in 71% of the team's defensive snaps. As a rookie, making 6 starts in 17 games played. And he got my attention week 12 when the Browns hosted Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. He looked like the best defensive back on the field with 4 pass breakups. He did a great job against Mike Evans, Rashard Perriman, and Cameron Bratt. I'm telling you, this guy is the real deal. Keep an eye on him this year. And as he makes his name more well known about the NFL, Cleveland Browns, Martin Emerson, a really good player. Love his sideline to sideline ability. He also finished with 15 passes defense, tied with Ward for the most on the team. Has Cleveland found a home opposite the 2-time Pro Bowler and what should be an excellent secondary in 2023. Deshaun Watson will be the key for Cleveland, not only trying to win that division, but maybe making it deep into the playoffs. There's another player, Kyler Gordon for the Chicago Bears. He logged 14 starts as a rookie, playing 79% of the team's defensive snaps in those contests. He also believes in reparations now, reparations forever. He also believes in reparations. I love players that believe in reparations, and they're not quiet about it. 79% of the team's defensive snaps in those contests, he seemed to improve as the year wore on. And the second-round pick had 3 interceptions, 6 passes defense, 1 forced fumble, and 71 tackles. The Bears' defense struggled as a whole in 2022, allowing a league-high 27.2 points per game. That's 27.2 points per game. Isn't that something? He finished with a league-low 20 sacks with safety Jaquan Brisker. He led the team in that category with 4. And if the pass rush improves, Gordon should have no problem building on his rookie campaign. Now, there's another player I want to swing it out to the West Coast with the Los Angeles Rams. You have Kobe Durant for the Rams. If you think about how good he is, he got my attention in 2022. It was a key interception in his second NFL game against the Atlanta Falcons, or when he picked the Broncos twice, taking one to the house on Christmas Day. He said, "Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Reparations now. Reparations forever." And someone asked him, they said, "What do you want for Christmas?" And he said, "Reparations now. Reparations forever." That's what I want for Christmas. I want my reparations. I want it sooner than that. But he definitely made his presence felt in the final 6 games of the season. The former 4th-round pick looks poised to play in the slot this fall, but is capable of playing outside as well, which he did with excellent technique in 2022 when Jalen Ramsey slid inside to the star position. We will see what happens to that good boy. Now, I know people may not agree with my pick coming up as far as a solid player, but I do. When Eric Bieniemy obviously won't be there for the Kansas City Chiefs calling plays, going to be a touchdown Andy Reid. But Trent McDuffie, Kansas City Chiefs, after missing 6 games early in the 2022 season, this good boy can play. He had a hamstring injury. He became a major contributor to the Kansas City Super Bowl run, logging 7 passes defense, 1 forced fumble, and 1 sack in his rookie campaign. McDuffie was one of the Chiefs' top outside cornerbacks, but he was also their best cover man in the slot where he could use his size and instincts. And it helped them win last season. He played 536 snaps. Think about that. He had 247 snaps in the slot. This season, I expect McDuffie to once again take a majority of his snaps outside opposite stud L'Jarius Sneed. And I'm telling you, Steve McNola's base defense, I believe he'll have an even bigger impact. Kansas City, will they repeat as Super Bowl champions? Probably not. It's hard to repeat. Are they the best team in the NFL? They probably are, because they just reload. This team has been in the finals, or in an AFC Championship game. They lost to New England at home, and then they ended up beating, it was Tennessee. Not Tennessee, it was Houston. The Texans. And then we know what happened when they played Buffalo and also Cincinnati. How they lose to Cincinnati, I don't know. That was an upset game. But it put Cincinnati on the map more so than they should have been, in my opinion. I thought Kansas City could have put that game away right before halftime. They went for it to try to score as opposed to kicking a field goal and extending the lead. And it bit them in the backside in the second half of the game. But I'm telling you, there's a lot going on in these two teams when you look at Cincinnati and also the Kansas City Chiefs. I like Kansas City more than I like Cincinnati. I know people want to crown Joe Burrow because they're going to make him the highest paid quarterback this year, but he's not a better quarterback than touchdown Patrick Mahomes. He's just not. And that's my opinion. In opinion, everybody has an opinion. But that's what I like about it. It's an opinion. I like to say my opinions are based on facts. It's not just me spitting my opinion. I like to give you facts. I want to close out today's NFL show with the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets playing in Canton, Ohio. Another great player to look out for this year is Derek Stingley Jr., the Houston Texans. Had a solid start in his rookie season, recording 1 pick. At 1 sack, he had 5 passes defense and 43 tackles in 9 games before injuries set him and sent him to the sideline. Houston had a young defense that experienced some growing pains, but the unit should be much improved under the new head coach, D'Amico Ryans, out of the 49ers. And I expect the talent that was apparent during Stingley's time at LSU to shine under Ryan, and he'll have a strong second half of his career this season. I look forward to that. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Everybody has their own opinion about NFL football and who they like and how things are going to progress this year in the NFL. I know, again, the biggest offseason move, I think, in the NFL would be Aaron Rodgers no longer being a Green Bay Packer. Now he's taking his talent to the New York Jets. And when you look at what it's going to do for the Jets, Robert Saleh, obviously they're expecting the Jets to have a great season this year. And maybe they will. But who knows? It's all about how you play on the field, how you gel with your teammates. And it's not about Rodgers being a big name guy. Can the team gel? That's the thing I love about it. Can the team gel? And I hope that it will for New York's sake. The Giants made the playoffs last year, and now there are a lot of players, a lot of teams that think that maybe this year is the New York Jets' time. But they've been such a disappointing team for years. But we will see what happens. I love the fact that we have NFL football is back in the Canton, Ohio. They will enshrine some players into the NFL Hall of Fame next year. Among all the telltale signs that the NFL regular season is near is the annual Hall of Fame game, the first game of the NFL's preseason, and it brings some excitement for what's ahead while also paying homage to some previous gridiron greats. And tonight's game features the Jets and the Browns, two teams that will also face off during Week 17 of the regular season. Aaron Rodgers did not play tonight, and that means the fans will instead see Zach Wilson, the number 2 overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. Wilson surely looking to put his best foot forward, but he knows this is about Aaron Rodgers' team. Now, we have a national TV audience, and who knows how the fans will take hold to it this year, but I think people will love the NFL. It's different seeing Aaron Rodgers not playing in the Green Bay Packers uniform. It's also seeing Jimmy Garoppolo on the West Coast no longer playing for the 49ers. Now he's going to be in Las Vegas quarterbacking for the Las Vegas Raiders. There's so many things that happen in the world of sports, and I feel that this year should be a dynamite season for the NFL. I like Brock Purdy that they're starting. He's healthy now for the 49ers. I like what they have in Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. They got to get Nick Bosa signed. Obviously, they will do that before the regular season starts. But that's a team in the 49ers. They've been knocking on that door. And I think this year they will kick that door in. At least that's what I'm sticking with. I know everybody has their own opinion about who the best teams are in the NFL, who has the best chance to win a championship. This will be the first time without Tom Brady in about 20 years now, over 20 years, when he came up to the scene. And now, obviously, he's not going to be in the press box this year. Who knows what he's going to do next year? But the NFL is changing. Tom Brady's not playing in the league this year. Aaron Rodgers playing for the New York Jets. And then you have head coaches that may be on the hot seat if they don't win. That seems to be the case every year. Will the Rams have a big bounce back this year? I think they can. But to me, that division's up for the 49ers to win. Don't be surprised if the Seattle Seahawks come knocking really fast on that door to challenge the 49ers. Pete Carroll up there in the Pacific Northwest. But I like the 49ers to win the NFC West. I'll have Big C's predictions starting next week when I'll start lining up teams and give you Big C's thoughts on the top NFL teams. And that's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. As we say, are you ready for some football? Yeah, they are playing as it kicked off in Ohio. The New York Jets and the Cleveland Browns. I guess you could call it a home game for Cleveland because it's the same state. Well, that's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. Well, as I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber. You can call Lyft. You can call a taxi. You can walk it off. You can sleep it off. But whatever you do, don't get behind the wheel of a car after you've been drinking. The life you save may be your own. Take some time to let it wear off, if that makes sense to you. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Bodini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He would say, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm so pretty. I can't possibly be beat because all the Big C burgers make me land on my feet. That's why I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee and I rumble, young man rumble. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that crap, pick up the phone and call 911 because things change when the police show up. Well, that's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. Well, as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports Show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super, fantastic day. In honoring the great President Abraham Lincoln, I hope the NFL follows by saying reparations now, reparations forever. Say it 2 more times. Hopefully the NFL will follow what President Abraham Lincoln told us. Reparations now, reparations forever. And say it 1 more time as if your favorite team just won the game. In honoring President Abraham Lincoln, reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.